All right, we're loaded up. Just reset the trip odometer in this thing. It's at 100% charge. And we're going to see how it goes. The truck is rated for 12,500 pounds. The Bronco weighs a little over 8. Trailer's probably 3 and change. If I can find a scale, I will try to weigh it. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. Everything looks to be proper. And we'll be comparing this to my dad's truck. So, we'll show that off now. And then let's get hitting the road. So we got to the point where it was 47 miles of range. It was 47 miles to get there. And I quickly realized I would be towing this thing with the Bronco. So we're going to a charging station. Hopefully that's not a massive pain. Hopefully I can get in there without having to disconnect the trailer. Yeah, this truck kind of sucks. For the towing test, this is what I'll be comparing the Silverado EV to. This is my dad's F250 with a 6.2 liter V8 under the hood. It's backed by a 6-speed transmission and 373 gears. The towing capacity on this is identical, if not like completely identical to the Chevy. I forget if it's 12,700 or 12,500. It may just change on their trim level, but it's within a few hundred pounds at the most. What it's towing is a slightly smaller trailer, but a very similar truck on top of it. On top is a 1984 Chevy Blazer with a 6.2 liter diesel under the hood, big bumpers, winch, 43-inch tires. It's probably pretty close to the weight of my Bronco. The other big thing that I've been hearing with towing is it's not really the weight, but it's the aerodynamics. And one thing that's not going on here is a visor up top. So that acts as a big scoop on the Bronco. I know it does. Kills a little bit of the aerodynamics. So, yeah, this is probably a little easier to tow. But that being said, it is pretty close, and we will be going on the same trip. So, that being said, I'm going to go have my dad go restart his miles per gallon calculator, run it, see what he comes up with. And then afterwards, just give us a little bit of a recap of his trip. Now it was time to load up the Bronco. When I was doing so, I just wanted to run you through anything that was different or nifty on the Silverado EV. Unlike the 250, the Silverado has a 2-inch hitch. So not a big deal, but just something to know. I think it's 1,500 pounds of tongue weight and cargo you can have in the vehicle. So just gotta be mindful of that. So I'm moving around the truck, hooking up to the trailer, and there's already a few things that I am liking about the Silverado. I'll point them out as I'm working, but the first of which is the 360 camera. And it's nice because there's a few things I just have to worry about hitting over here where I park my trailer. And the Ford didn't have that, even though it was a Lariat. So, yeah, something to mark. This here is a different view, so I'm gonna go try and use this to back up to my trailer and see how that works. But I can see that being pretty useful. You can see it's lined up pretty good. I think I smudged the camera too, because it's all kind of blurry, but that's okay. What I noticed right away when putting this trailer on is it almost looks like this hitch was designed by someone who used the trailer once in their life. There's enough room to go and hook your chains to it without having to like fight with it like you do in the Fords. I think they revised that in later years, but that is a nice little change. Here is the Silverado all unloaded. I like this truck so far. Let's see if it keeps impressing me. This isn't anything scientific, but I kind of just want to see where we're sitting before and after this trip. Like say 5.5 inches, probably, yeah. Not before and after this trip, before and after I load the Bronco. This one's the more important one. Looking at, pretty much 5.5 inches really. So let's see. I have these blocks set on here to put a little extra tongue weight on the truck. Super Duty handled it fine. I have a feeling the Silverado won't like it and I'll probably have to back off of them, but we'll see. All right, the Bronco's on there. Here's for the moment of truth of how much it sagged in the rear, but honestly, I don't think it looks too bad. Maybe I would say, 4 3/4, so it's down 3/4 of an inch, maybe. I think I'm happy with that. It's not too bad at all. So I'm gonna get strapped up, have a few finishing touches and some things to pack, and we're gonna get pulling with this thing. So stay tuned for that. All right, guys, we are underway. Kara couldn't make it, so I've got Figgies. Kara's got to work, so she'll meet up with me tomorrow. But we've got 146 miles to go. Range is currently showing 391, but I'm sure that'll drop once this realizes what's going on behind it. And yeah, so far so good. Feels fine on the side streets. Not that I really expected any different. But yeah. Tow's perfectly fine so far. Let's get on the highway and see if our opinions changed at all. So, it seems to bang around a little bit more than the Super Duty did when we go over bumps. I'm thinking that, probably just a little bit of a lighter suspension, so it doesn't soak up those bumps quite as nice, but kind of to be expected from what I guess is like a half-ton truck. So I'm not upset with that. But here's our first merge onto the highway. I'm not going to go too crazy with it, But one thing I thought it'd be cool to point out is that my range has been dropping slightly, but I'm still at 100% battery. So that's really cool. And yeah, let's get on the highway here. My goal is to do about 60, 65. Wow, what was that? Yeah. Got up to speed fine. I think I'm going to cruise around here for a bit, and I'll report back when I have something new to say. All right, so apparently I can't cruise at 67 because it bothers me. I want to go a little faster. So we bumped up to 69. Have cruise control is pulling the first grade of our trip. And let's see how it goes. Even with my gasser, you would eat through gas going up these. And I'm giving it a little bit of extra gas here to see what it does. But yeah, you can see the battery gauge is dropping down to 97 now all of a sudden. But I think we're going to regen some of this coming down the other side, so that's fine by me. I just don't want to get passed by semis while I'm doing it. Keep you guys on for the whole hill to really see what goes on. But yeah, 95%. Couple of tractor trailers up here. They can't keep speed. They're slowing down. My foot's now off the gas. The cruise controls kick back in. It's keeping us nice at 69. And it's still pulling nice. 93%. Wow, so I might use up 10% of the battery just getting out of this little valley that I live in. But let's see, now that we're starting to crest, if we'll start regenning anything on the other side. I'm going to do my best to let cruise control do all of the braking so that it ends up being regenerative braking rather than wasted braking on my trailer. But we'll see. You guys can tell what's regenerative and what's being spent based off the gauge there. On the right side, you got that orange bar that shows what I'm using. And if it drops down below that, it means it's regenerative. So I've actually seen that charge the battery before coasting down some big hills. So it'll be something cool to see. But yeah, we're still using power here. We'll get back in the slow lane. Another little update. You can see my range has dropped significantly down to 230 miles. That's actually more than what my Super Duty would get with a full tank of gas. So if it stays there, I'd be happy. Even at 200, I'd be pretty happy. But let's see. The left lane is closed in a mile and we're starting to go downhill. So we actually saw the first bit of regenerative braking there for just a pinch behind this truck when it's slowed down. But I guess now we're back to using power to keep up with it. So I'm sure though once we get in here, it'll start slowing down a little bit more, and I'm guessing this will start to charge up a bit. Now we're at 210 miles of range, so we'll see. So I've just been on a pretty decent incline for a while now. I've just been following this tractor trailer to not really burn up too much battery. But as you can see, my range is getting low. I'm at 157 miles of range. We started with just under 400, and we've only been on the road for like, I don't know, half an hour maybe. So, you know, that's a little concerning. I could tell because my co-driver is concerned. But, yeah, I'm hoping things will flatten out a little bit now and we'll be okay. But we got 118 miles, 156 miles worth of range. If it continues on this downward trend, I'm going to have to stop to charge this thing and possibly do it twice. But I don't think so. I think we're going to flatten out a little bit and it'll kind of maintain that range as the true range now. But we'll see. Right, Vickies? So we're coming up on an hour into the trip, and we've dropped 37% of battery, and we've gone like, I don't know, 40, 50 miles maybe, just under 50 miles. We've got 100 miles left, and we've got 120 miles of expected range. So that's not great. Continues to drop. I'm going to have to find a place to charge. However, I think we're through the real mountainous part of my trip. The elevation should be a lot flatter from here on out, so I think that range is going to stay the same or maybe even increase a little bit. And if that's the case, I think we'll be good. If not, I will be finding somewhere to charge, and I've probably got to do that sooner than later because the farther you go into PA, I feel like the more scarce they're going to be. So, yeah, wish me luck and let me know in the comments if you think this thing's going to make it all the way, because I am losing faith. And this is also with the cruise control on, locked in between 65 and I think 69 was my max. I'm not doing anything crazy with it, not pulling it with it hard, just trying to cruise along. Towing wise, this thing tows great. You see Figgy's enjoying herself. You can look out the mirror and see the truck's back there fine, towing well. But yeah, this just might not be good for anyone who has to tow over 2 hours away or an hour away round trip. So yeah, we'll see. Keep you posted. So here is a little more information. 97% of my power has been going to moving this vehicle around. 3% has gone to AC and stuff like that. And I will show you my trip stats too. So here is my trip stats. We're coming up on 50 miles. We're using, we're getting 0.6 miles per kilowatt hour. And yeah, that's pretty low, kind of where I expected to be. But yep, not ideal. So let's just keep trucking and see where it goes. And we're about 56 minutes of drive time. So this is probably a good point to interject. 0.6 miles per kilowatt hour is the worst that I saw during my entire towing cycle. This truck comes with a 170 kilowatt hour battery. So I was getting 102 miles of range if I were to have stayed at this efficiency. That's pretty awful. Yeah, that's just pretty awful. But yeah, if I was going up and down hills, 102 miles of range is what to expect. And it really didn't get too much better. So we're cruising along. Battery just hit 50%. We're pretty much halfway into the trip mileage-wise and time-wise. And Figgy's getting a little boisterous. But what I'm thinking is that was probably the mountainy part. I think we'll be good to get there. It says we have about 96 miles worth of range. Only 76 miles left to go. So, yeah, it'll be like a 20-mile buffer, which isn't great, but we can do it. What, Figgy? What? Sit. But, yeah. I think if we just keep holding like this, we should be fine to get there. If not, I got to start looking for a charger. So we got to the point where it was 47 miles of range. It was 47 miles to get there. And I quickly realized I would be towing this thing with the Bronco. So we're going to a charging station. Hopefully that's not a massive pain. Hopefully I can get in there without having to disconnect the trailer. Yeah, this truck kind of sucks. I didn't think I was asking too much of it, but it is what it is. So we'll make do with it. And hopefully I'll build a crawler hauler soon so I don't have to worry about this anymore. Biggie is so concerned. And that's what I was too when we were scanning for chargers. Not a ton of charger options out here. I found this one because I'm driving alone. I pretty much went to where it recommended. And it said it was a fast charger and it is a 60 kilowatt charger. But I mean, it's gonna take me hours to charge this thing up. I will get to a point where we're good. Got plenty of range and then I'll get going again. And I guess until then, I'll sit here and goof off and walk figgies. But yeah, I mean, it pulls nice. It's done a good job. It just doesn't pull far. So if you have to pull nice and not far, it's a good option for you. If you have to go anything over like 2 hours with any sort of load, probably not a great option. I wouldn't want to be here doing this, you know, I really don't want to be here myself, but like, I'm pretty comfortable, but like, this is kind of a shitty area to be in, middle of nowhere. It's not like fun, but it is what it is. It's what you get for being cheap. So I'll run it for the time being, and yeah, I think I'm gonna get an onboard generator really soon. But that's that. I'm gonna walk figgy. Fast charging to 80%. It'll be done by 11:15. I'm not sure what time it is. It's probably like 9ish. So not great, but I'm not going all the way to 80. Hold on, figgy. Let me get your leash. It is 9:35. So like 2 hours to get to 80%, which isn't terrible. Not the fastest charger by any means, but it's better than nothing. So I started charging this about 9:36. It's now 10:57, so it's like an hour 20 or so. I gained a lot of range, so I'm more than good to go. I just wanted to have extra because I'm probably going to charge at 110 at the house. And I want to make sure I charge it fully up, so maybe I'd be able to get back home, depending on elevation change. I'm not sure. I'll probably have to stop and charge it again. But next trip, I'll definitely have a generator with me. And it is clear that this is more of a means to an end than anything else. It does do a pretty good job at commuting. I haven't had any issues with that. I haven't been at a public charger since I put a charger in at my house, really. Maybe one time. But I have no issues with driving this thing around on like a road trip without towing. With towing, it's just not practical if you're doing any sort of distance. And this isn't even that much distance. This was 140 miles. So, that being said, I'm going to go unplug. I'm going to go finish the rest of the way to the Airbnb. Actually, I'll show you guys this vehicle status. This was my current trip. I went 106 miles. Average 0.7 miles per kilowatt hour. Yeah, just not great. And that got me down to, I think it was 24% battery off the check. So I sat for like an hour and a half getting this thing charged. And I don't remember what I was at percentage-wise before I left, but I was over 62. But I'm setting cruise control to 70, trying to make up a little bit of time. And let's see how that does on the battery. So I finally got here. I'll give you guys a quick look at the stats before I go inside. But yeah, probably took me double what it would normally take. Well, I went 155 miles and averaged 0.7 miles per kilowatt hour. So yeah, that's pretty bad. So I'll have more to say about tomorrow. I'm getting ready for bed. So I did do what I wanted to do and plugged into a 110 outlet at the Airbnb. Be charged to 100% by Thursday of next week. Today's Thursday. Actually, yesterday was Thursday. It's not Friday morning. So not ideal. Let's see if we can change this a little bit. I turned it to max charge. Let's see if it does any better. Oh, Tuesday by 6:45. We're getting better. Let me turn this whole thing off and leave it any little bit helps. I'm definitely gonna have to charge on the way home. So we've been charging for a couple days now, roughly 2 days and 10, 11 plus hours after. So what is that, like 60 hours? Got like 22% or so. And yeah, so I'm on my way home after a weekend of wheeling. If you guys want to see about that, check it out. My mom just disconnected the cord, but yeah, I'll do a little walk around and then we'll get going. Just wrapped up our weekend of wheeling. My dad's going back with the Blazer. I'll give a report on his mileage and towing abilities when we get back. I've got the Bronco on the trailer and we're ready to get rolling too. The Silverado EV is parked up by the garbage cans, kind of where it belongs. And it charged to 64% after he plugged in for, I don't know, 60 hours on 110, which is kind of to be expected due to the size of the battery. But that means I'll be stopping to charge on the way home. And I'm gonna make sure I limit that to just once. I don't wanna have to stop twice. So I'm leaving the Airbnb and they have this gravelly road, a little bit of a washout down the center. Nothing too crazy, but my dad did say you had to go put it in 4-wheel drive to get up it. I've got the Bronco in the back. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just go and record a little bit of that too. Because part of being like a tow rig in this situation is moving around on these gravelly roads, pulling weight off them. So I don't think this thing's really slipped though. That's very impressive. So, cool. I had a little bit of spinning near the top, but the landowner came over and talked to me, asking me a few questions. So I didn't get that on film, but it does all right. So I just dropped the trailer outside of Cabela's, and truck still has like 38%, but I won't make it home. And there's a Wawa right next door that I'm only gonna charge that at a Tesla charger. Then I'll walk around Cabela's. But yeah, kind of annoying. This thing needs a generator in the bed if it's ever gonna be used for this again. I disconnected the trailer and it automatically came out of trailer mode, so that's kind of cool. And when it was connected, it stayed in. With my Ford, I had to keep going and putting it back into trailer mode every day or so, so it's a nifty feature. But anyway, I'm off to Wawa. So I just hooked up to a Tesla charger. That ranged as a lie because I'm towing, but should be ready by 1:50. So that gives me about an hour, a little over, like an hour and a half to go play around in Cabela's, which is just enough time. So I'm hoping it'll charge to 100%, and that'll be that. But it'll give me notifications, so away I go. So Cabela's was cool, and then there's some other perks too that Figgy really likes. Right, Figgies? We got ice cream. There was an ice cream truck outside. Yum, yum. All right, I got Figgies in here for this leg of the trip. We're fast charging to 100. It says we're there, but it looks like it's still topping off a little bit. But that's fine by me. I'm gonna stop it. We're gonna get rolling. Gotta go pick up the trailer at Cabela's. All right, truck's back on the road again. I left it idling for a while I went into Cabela's, and Karen Figgy sat out in the truck, so we're at 99% when I left. Just dropped 2%, have 107 miles to go, but it should pull this whole length and shouldn't have any problems, so we'll see. I'll give you more updates as we get along. Since I was able to get a full charge, I've been driving a little bit more aggressively than I did the other day coming up. Is it eating through battery? Yes. But I will say that the truck does pull nicely. I felt very comfortable in the 70s with this. So, yeah, I trust it. You know, not as much as the Super Duty, but I mean, it feels pretty good. Stopping's been nice. There's been a bunch of times where I've had to stop going down grade. Feels good. So, towing-wise, I would recommend it. You know, distance-wise, it's based on a case-by-case scenario. At 43% battery, 42, that's coming from 100%. We had like 107 miles to go. We're at 21 miles to go. I reset a trip odometer right after I left Cabela's, so I'll be able to let you guys know how I did with charge, driving a little bit more aggressively. And then I could also show you just the overall trip So, yeah, I'll go through that stuff once I get back. We're pretty much back. Truck still has about 30% battery. I've only got about 10 minutes to go to my house. Stopped and got some Dampex to throw in the Bronco since it got full rain yesterday. But first trip with the Chevy's been a success. A couple growing pains, but it's got its pros and some cons. But we'll go through all that in just a little bit. Officially home, 28% battery left. And let me just go and go to vehicle status and my trip information. So 313 total miles, 0.8 miles per kilowatt hour. And then for my trip 2, it's actually 0.9 miles per kilowatt hour, which I did drive a little bit more aggressively, but the second half of the trip wasn't so hilly, so I think that helped a lot. So yeah, let me go break down the goods and the bads and the uglies with this thing. All right, so we're home. I'm gonna go review some of the numbers, and then I'll give you guys an update on my takeaways from this whole thing. All right, guys, so I'm just gonna go run through some of the information I gathered. First off, I'm gonna start with my dad's F-250. I towed with a very similar truck in the past, and I was getting about 6.5 miles to the gallon towing my Bronco. With the Blazer, he was getting between like 7.5 and 9. So that leads me to believe the Blazer's a bit lighter, but I think it's also a bit more aerodynamic because it doesn't have the visor, it isn't as tall, and the trailer's a bit lower. So other than that, his truck pulled good, and that really wasn't anything of concern. We kind of had an expectation it would. Going back to the Silverado EV, the range was disappointing. I was getting between, a little over 100 to at best like 150 miles of range. And I could live with 150, but that it varies so much is an issue. I'm not even able to get to the local off-road parks that I plan on using it to get to without stopping, so I'm just going to have to plan that in. Now comes the question of whether I would recommend this to someone. If you're towing locally, you're bringing your boat to the lake, or you're just doing short trips or lighter trips, you're not towing as much, 100%. Especially if there's a lot of time in between you doing it. If this is something you're going to be doing once a week or every couple times a month, I'd probably go turn you away and put you towards a real, gas or truck. So, yeah, those are my takes on that. As for the generator idea, I don't know if that's going to play in. I'd probably have to leave it running while I was off-roading all day. If I was doing a day trip, I'd have to see how the parks are with that, if they would mind me doing that. I'm sure it's a little bit of a liability. So I'd have to see. If I was going for a couple days, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea. I could just run it at night for a little bit, or, it'd be a couple hours, but it's an option. That being said, this was my first trip, and really I just have to do a couple more and get them under my belt, and then I should have a better idea. I'm actually planning on one this weekend, so I'll get some more information. I'll report back. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments if you have any ideas or thoughts or comments, questions, and have a good one.